Your Lake County property tax bill just went up by double digits. And if you're sitting there wondering where the hell all that money goes, you're not alone. In fact, you're about to get very, very angry. Lake County, Illinois now has the highest property taxes in the entire state. And that's saying something in a state that already has the highest property taxes in America. The median homeowner here pays over $6,200 a year, and some are paying north of $8,600. Some of the very typical houses in typical suburban neighborhoods here in Lake County are paying $20,000 a year in property taxes. But here's the kicker that's going to make your blood boil. Lake County government, the entity with Lake County literally in the name, gets less than 7 cents of every tax dollar you pay. So where's the other 93 cents going, and why are your taxes jumping around 10% or more this year? Buckle up, because we're about to follow the money, and you're not going to like what we find out. I live in Lake County, so when I got my property tax estimate showing a 10.6% increase this year, I did exactly what any reasonable person would do. I started digging. What I found is a system that's so convoluted, so deliberately opaque, and so fundamentally broken that it makes the U.S. tax code look straightforward. Let me put this in perspective for you. If you own the median Lake County home worth about $287,000, you're paying roughly $6,285 in property taxes this year. That's more than many people pay in rent for 2 months. That's more than the entire annual property tax bills in 45 other states, and it just went up by hundreds of dollars. But wait, it gets worse. If you live in some of the higher end areas, Highland Park, Lake Forest, Lake Zurich, you could be paying $15,000, $20,000, even $25,000 a year in property taxes. That's a decent salary in some parts of the country, paid annually just for the privilege of owning a home in Lake County. So where does all the money go? Here's the breakdown that'll make you want to move to Florida tomorrow. School districts gobble up 69 to 72 cents of every dollar you pay. That's right. Nearly 3/4 of your property tax bill goes to schools. Now, before you start thinking, well, schools are important, let me tell you what's really happening. Lake County has over 200 individual entities that can tax your property. We're not talking about 200 schools. We're talking about 200 separate government entities that can reach into your wallet. Elementary school districts, high school districts, community college districts, library districts, park districts, fire protection districts, mosquito abatement districts. Yes, you read that right. You're paying a separate tax for mosquito control. Lake County government itself, the roads, the sheriff, the courts, all the things you probably think your county taxes pay for, gets a measly 6 to 7% of your bill. The city or village where you live, another 8 to 10% if you're lucky. So, why is your tax bill jumping by 10% or more this year? There are reasons, and they're infuriating. First, COVID money is drying up. During the pandemic, school districts got federal bailouts that allowed them to keep your tax rates artificially low. District 60 alone got $82 million in federal COVID relief. That money is gone, and now they're coming back to you to make up the difference. You got a temporary break while the federal government picked up the tab, and now the bill is due. Second, something called the Property Tax Relief Grant disappeared from many districts. This was state money that allowed school districts to lower their tax levies in 2023, but it's not guaranteed money. Districts have to qualify each year, and many didn't qualify for 2024. So what looked like a spending increase is really just districts going back to their normal tax grabbing levels. Third, there's a law called PTEL, P-T-E-L-L, the Property Tax Extension and Limitation Law. That's supposed to limit tax increases. It allows taxing bodies to increase their levies by the inflation rate, which is 3.4% this year. Sounds reasonable, right? Except everyone is conveniently ignoring that they're supposed to be limited by this. Instead of 3 to 4% increases, we're seeing 5% average increases, with many districts hitting 10% or more. Here's where it gets really sneaky. These taxing districts play a shell game with your money that would make a Las Vegas card shark jealous. When they want to raise taxes, they don't say we're raising your taxes. They say we're maintaining essential services, or we're addressing critical needs. When the COVID money disappeared, they didn't say we spent the federal relief money and now we need you to fund more. They said their costs had increased and they need to return to sustainable funding levels. The Lake County Board just approved a $185 million property tax levy for 2025. That's $6.1 million higher than last year. They call it an estimated levy, as if they might decide to take less. Spoiler alert, they won't. And here's the really maddening part. They blame each other. The schools blame the county blames the schools, the villages blame the state. Meanwhile, you're writing checks to all of them and your bill keeps climbing. Lake County's property tax problem isn't just about high rates. It's about a system that's completely out of control. We have more taxing districts than some entire states. Why do we need separate elementary and high school districts? Why can't one entity handle education from K through 12? Because that would make too much sense and eliminate too many administrative jobs. Why do we need separate library districts, park districts, and fire protection districts for every little municipality? Because consolidation is a dirty word that threatens bureaucratic fiefdoms. The Lake County Board talks about consolidation opportunities, but it's mostly talk. Real consolidation would mean fewer administrators, fewer boards, fewer six-figure salaries for people whose jobs descriptions overlap with 5 other agencies. And if the fragmented taxing system wasn't bad enough, there's the assessments. Your home value goes up, your assessment goes up at nearly the same rate. There's no cushion, no buffer. Property values rising, your taxes rise with them. It's like having a tax that automatically inflates itself. But Lake County's property tax crisis isn't happening in a vacuum. It's happening in Illinois, a state that's essentially broken, getting broker by the day. The state has unfunded pension liabilities in the hundreds of billions. The solution? Push more costs down to local governments, who then push them on to property taxpayers. It's like the fiscal game of hot potato, and you're always holding the potato when the music stops. Illinois has been losing population for years, which means fewer taxpayers to spread the cost around. But the costs don't go down when people leave. If anything, they go up as you're left with an aging infrastructure and fewer people to pay for it. And here's the really depressing part. There's a ballot referendum asking Illinois voters if they want to amend the state constitution to add a 3% tax on income over $1 million for property tax relief. It's political theater. Even if it passes, and even if it actually generates revenue instead of driving away high earners, that money will disappear into the state's general fund black hole. You'll never see a penny of property tax relief. So, what's coming next? Brace yourself, because this 10% increase is likely just the appetizer. School districts are facing rising costs for everything from teacher salaries to building maintenance to technology. With federal COVID money gone and state funding unreliable, they have exactly one place to turn: your property tax bill. Lake County infrastructure is aging. Roads need repair, bridges need replacement, storm sewers need upgrading. Every one of these gets translated into higher property taxes. The state's financial crisis is getting worse, not better. Every year, more costs get shifted from the state funding to local property taxes. It's death by 1,000 cuts, and each cut is a line item on your tax bill. So what can you actually do about this besides move to Florida? Well, more than you think. First, check if you're getting all the exemptions you're entitled to. The homestead exemption alone can save you $175 a year, and there are additional exemptions for seniors and veterans. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. Second, appeal your assessment if you think it's too high. About 25% of properties in America are overassessed. If your home's market value has dropped, or if comparable sales suggest your assessment is inflated, you can challenge it. Third, pay attention to local elections. Most people can name their congressman but have no idea who's on their school board or village council, the people who actually set your property tax rates. These elections often have pathetically low turnout, which means your vote carries more weight. Fourth, demand consolidation. Every time you see another referendum for new taxing districts or another administrative position, ask, why can't this be handled by an existing entity? Support candidates who actually talk about merging districts and eliminating redundancy. But here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to talk about. Lake County property taxes are high because Lake County residents have historically been willing to pay them. The schools are good, the services are decent, and the property values have generally held up. It's been worth it. The problem is that equation is breaking down. Property taxes are rising faster than incomes. The value proposition is getting shakier. At some point, even affluent Lake County residents are going to say enough. We might be at that point now. When people are paying $20,000 a year in property taxes on a $500,000 house, when young families can't afford to move to the area, when retirees are fleeing to low-tax states, the whole system becomes unsustainable. And here's why nothing will change anytime soon. The people benefiting from the system vote in higher numbers than the people getting screwed by it. Public employees, school administrators, contractors who do business with these taxing districts, they're all highly motivated to vote for people who keep the money flowing. The average homeowner who's just trying to raise their family and pay their bills, they're living their busy lives, not organizing political campaigns. The system isn't broken, it's working as designed. It's designed to extract maximum revenue from property owners with minimum political backlash. The complexity is intentional. The fragmentation is intentional. If you can't figure out who's responsible for your high taxes, you can't hold anyone accountable. So here's the bottom line. Your Lake County property taxes went up by 10% or more this year because a fragmented system of over 200 taxing entities decided they needed more of your money. And there's essentially nothing stopping them from taking it. The COVID relief money that kept your taxes artificially low, it's gone. The state grant money that provided temporary relief, it's gone. The federal government isn't coming to bail out Lake County taxpayers. What's left is you, your paycheck, and a system designed to separate you from as much of it as possible while providing just enough services to keep you from moving to Indiana. The only question is, how much more are you willing to pay before you decide enough is enough? Because at the rate we're going, $10,000 property tax bills are going to be the norm, not the exception. So, welcome to Lake County, Illinois, where the American dream comes with a property tax bill that just might kill it.